Hi viewers. So the last track of extrapyramidal system, tectospinal tract. Okay, we are also going to deal about the olivospinal tract, which is of least interest but still worth mentioning. So when I say tectospinal tract, that tecto means tectum. Tectum is one of the part of the midbrain. This is a cross section of the midbrain. The cross section has been done at a much higher level. That is why you are able to see a superior colliculus. Okay, so this is how you find whether the cross sectioning of the midbrain is done at the higher level or lower level. If it is on the lower level, you will see a inferior colliculus. Fine. Now we will see what are the different portions of the midbrain. We see that the uppermost, that is, this is the dorsal aspect, is the tectum, and the middle portion is called as the tegmentum, and the ventralmost part is called as the crus cerebri. Significantly, we also see the red nucleus, which is here, which we have already discussed about the rubrospinal tract, which arising from the red nucleus, and that immediately crosses to the opposite side. Fine. With so much of reference, I'll tell you that this tract is arising from this superior colliculus, which is otherwise called as the tectum portion. The superior colliculus and the inferior colliculus of the midbrain is called as the tectum. Since this tract is coming from this part of the midbrain, this is called as tecto, and it goes to the spinal, so it is called as the tectospinal tract. So here we go. This is the diagram of the tectospinal tract. So as always we used to discuss about the 7 points. So first is, where does this starts? It's already answered. It starts from the tectum, and particularly from the superior colliculus, and also it receives informations or fibers from the inferior colliculus. And next is, where does this ends? It ends as usual in the alpha motor neurons and the gamma motor neurons on the spinal cord. Where it is located in the spinal cord? On the anterior horn cells. Fine. Where does this crosses? You see here in this diagram, immediately after it arises from the tectum, when it comes to the tegmentum portion of the midbrain, it crosses to the opposite side. So this crossing over area is called as dorsal tegmental decussation. Why it is called as dorsal? Because it is located dorsally and it crosses in the area of the tegmentum. Remember, I told you tectum, tegmentum and crus cerebri are the three parts of the midbrain. So it crosses in the tegmentum level and then it remains on the opposite side. So there are a lot of hypotheses that states that only 90% of them crosses and 10% remains on the same side, but that is not evidentially proved. So as of now we can believe that it crosses entirely to the opposite side. Then what happens? Then we are seeing what are the inputs. Where does this tract receives inputs? We have already seen that the previous tracts they receive inputs from the vestibular system, they receive information from the cerebral cortex, and all these extrapyramidal system are not directly connected with the cerebral cortex. They arise from the brainstem, but invariably they receive information or they receive some sort of inputs. So what are the inputs for tectospinal tract? The inputs comes from the visual and auditory centers. Where are these visual and auditory centers located? They are located in the brain, particularly the auditory in the temporal region and visual in the occipital region. So whenever a person sees something or hears something, this information goes to the brain, and from the brain it comes directly into the area called as the superior and inferior colliculus. For the visual sensation, superior colliculus is the relay center, and for the auditory information, the inferior colliculus is the relay center. So what are the influences of this particular tract? It influences the extensors of the upper trunk, that is the cervical and thoracic spinal segments, particularly the muscles which moves the neck and the head and the upper trunk. So is the one which it influences. The hypothesis of the non-crossing fibers also says that the uncrossed fibers on the same side influences the flexors. They diminish the flexor activity, but that hypothesis, as I told you earlier, is not clearly confirmed yet. So coming to the function of this tract, let me tell you, this tract receives information from the auditory centers, from the visual centers. This is getting connected to the spinal cord. So what might be this function? The function is as simple as that. When there is an auditory or any visual information that is coming to your human body, the response for which is given by means of the muscles of the head or neck or the upper trunk is by means of this particular tract. For example, if you are seeing a moving object, so you have to rotate your neck like this. So you are seeing it, and this information goes to the superior colliculus, and then it goes to the muscles of the neck through the spinal cord, and you are able to track this object. Of course, other neural structures will also be involved, but this is the primary circuit for this particular function. And also, if somebody is calling you from behind, suddenly you turn back to see that person. That is also mediated by this particular tract. Okay, so what is going to be the dysfunction of this tract? Dysfunction of the tract is not being so far documented isolatedly. That is, isolated lesions of the tectospinal tract alone has not been documented, but there are documentations of a tumor or a vascular problem to the tectum of the brainstem, which may influence the function of the tectospinal tract. In those cases, what happens is the loss of response to visual and auditory informations have been documented. Apart from that, all the extrapyramidal features are also available when there is a lesion of the brainstem, like rigidity and lack of proper voluntary control. So with this, we are going to the olivospinal tract, which is the presence of which is not being clearly documented so far. And this tract was believed to arise from the olivary nucleus of the medulla. There is a nucleus called as an olivary nucleus, which is there in the medulla. From here it arises and ends in the cervical spinal segments of the spinal cord. This is not being documented and recorded in every human being, so the presence of this is sincerely or seriously questioned by the anatomist. So what is the role of this particular olivospinal tract which is perceived was? So what is the function of this particular tract it receives inputs from the sensory ascending fibers, that is your lateral the spinothalamic system and your dorsal column. So what it does is it helps in mediating these sensory inputs, and it relays the information to the cerebellum for fine tuning of the motor control. Very importantly, the olivospinal tract is being researched in the aspect of timing of movement, whether this particular tract plays a significant role in bringing about the timing of movement, temporal variations of movements, and how to record this in the motor learning. We always need this particular property of timing of movement, which is lacking in many of the skilled activities, which deteriorates the activity quality. So it is perceived that this particular tract is responsible for the timing of movement and learning of that particular timing of movement. So nothing much to discuss about that. That's why not even in the research it is being documented in the previous literature. So I am in my extensive study, I have not come up with an authentic information about olivospinal. So I am not putting up a separate video for that. So with this, our extrapyramidal system comes to an end. In my next video, I am going to discuss about what are the difference between the pyramidal and the extrapyramidal system, and we are also going to see about the decorticate and the decerebrate rigidity, and in subsequent classes we will know why as a physiotherapist we should know all these things, because it is purely anatomy and physiology, why a physiotherapist need all these information. Until then, bye, share this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, bye.